What's going on, people? Welcome back to Premier League Unpacked. First of all, I just want to apologise for last week not putting Premier League Unpacked out. It was both of my sister's birthday. It fell on an awkward day, and I couldn't really do anything about it. But make sure you're smashing a like on this video. Go into the description and go and subscribe to all the Mandeb's channels. It's there. One click of a button. And look, we're here. We're ready to talk. Fish is in the cut, looking really happy. Gooner's looking depressed. Tottenham, we know what Tottenham's about. It looks like Liverpool might have flushed it. You get me? We don't know if they're gonna catch top four. And DSG is just praying to God that Liverpool don't do it. But look, we're gonna get straight into it. And the first person I got to come to is Gooner. You get me? I know you're sitting there in the background, all quiet, bro. But I know you feel the pain. We're in this together. Let's talk about the Arsenal result first of all, bro, because for me, I feel like we checked out. It looked like the boys, there wasn't really that fight and desire. I think the result from Man City earlier on in the day kind of played on their minds. How did you find the game against Brighton, bro? They sunk our ship. They sunk it one time.
Yeah, man. Look, season was done from a couple of weeks ago. I said it. I'm not as shocked as everybody else. But listen, man, Arsenal have done well. But if you're talking about title, they bottled it, man. And I don't want to hear no other crap about Arsenal, how we could have got 90 points, all of that stuff. Listen, man, Man City they've done something that nobody thought that would happen. I don't know why, but they've won. I believe they're going to probably win about 14 games in a row, and fair play. But Arsenal have bottled it. That's it. Like, I've got my bottle here. I've got my bottle here to represent Arsenal today. And yeah, man, like,
got Arsenal's tears on it.
Arsenal's tears was at the Liverpool game, bro. So yeah, listen, I'm sure everyone else is gonna try to dump on me, but listen, I've been saying it for a while, so I'm not that fussed anymore. But it's a shame. It's a shame yesterday. You know, we didn't play well. We didn't play well at all. But I don't know, man. It's just Arsenal right now. Just I think they've shown to have no heart. And listen, some of the I was on AFTV yesterday, and what annoyed me is people were saying, "Oh, Reece Nelson needs to go, and this player needs to go," and I'm like, and Ketia needs to go. I'm like, hold on a second. I actually had to ask Brennan. How many games has Reece Nelson played? My man's played 9 games. 9. He scored, I think, 3 goals. How can you even mention
big goals?
How can you mention Reece Nelson? How can you mention Nketiah? Why Saka? Talk about Saka. Because I'm not.
Not even just that. How many games would have Reece even started in them 9?
None. Yeah. He came on. He scored 3 goals: 2 against Nottingham Forest and 1 against Bournemouth. That's the goals he scored. I actually couldn't even believe it. That people did, like Arsenal fans. I actually can't be lying. And this is where I agree with Patrick 100% in it.
Oh shit! You get me? There's some sort of something going on here, man.
I love it.
Fans, yeah, I'm not joking in it. I don't care. I it's better early to say they're retarded, bro. They're actually like thick. They're dumb, bro. Like they're bare childish. Like there's even like, again, I don't care whether I work with them or not. They're my peoples, and I'm not talking about anyone like older. But there's people that even at TV, I don't understand their thought process, bro. Like I don't understand where people come out with like the nonsense that they come out with. We bottled the league. It's facts. There's not, like, if you look at the stats, I don't even want to bring the stats. We're top of 93% of the season, 250 something days. With the second most amount of games, that's goals days on top of the league. Arsenal, the third most amount of days on top of the league. Arsenal, and we bottled it again and again and again. And listen, as I said, I'm not here to be shameless, and this is why I was saying to everyone, I don't understand why everyone keeps like making it seem that I've not been saying this. I've been saying this for a while. Like I gave props to Man City, fair play, whatever you want to say about Man City, their cheating allegations, etc., etc. You can't even say that this season because we lost points to West Ham and Southampton. That's got nothing to do with Man City. Nothing. That's got nothing to do with Man City, you know, putting pressure on, because we were in those positions. We were in those positions. So you can't even fucking talk about Man City. You have to look at Saka, Partey, Jesus. Brother, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. The light's shining bright on him. The light is shining. And again, it's not about me turning. And this is what people they don't understand, innit? DSG will understand. Roms, you're gonna now understand. Obviously, without fail, Bish understands. When you're talking about winning the top, you have to be critical of the top players. You have to be. You can't be pussyfooting around these fucking players, acting like these are some little small boys. Because if Saka had won the league, if Martinelli had won the league, there would have been nothing to be speaking about these guys. Everyone would have been putting them on the pedestal. Everybody. But now because they're little old Saka who missed a penalty against them in the Euros. No, man.
Do you know what, Guna? I actually hear you, and I agree with pretty much everything you're saying. I think
Bro,
over the last couple of weeks as well, bro.
Even Ramsdale. I'm sorry, but Ramsdale, you get nominated for goal of the save of the month. What good does that do to me when you do what you did yesterday? What I actually don't understand what you was doing for that goal, and this is where like it's hard to like be critical, but it's also hard to like back the players to the way you want them, because they almost drop in things like, you know, those Lloris clangers, like he back in the day he used to do world-class saves and then he does a bozo thing, bro. Like how can you put in a performance against Newcastle and then do what you did against Brighton? How can you do like I don't get it. And this is where like now Arsenal fans need to wake up in it. Whatever coffee that you want to drink, fucking drink it, and drink it to the nth degree, because someone needs to start waking up in it. Like Arsenal, some of our players have actually done amazingly well for us, but you have to slate them in terms of if in terms of the 10 games, the squeaky bum time, as Sir Alex Ferguson used to call it. You have to say the arses fell out, and I ain't even going to blame Arteta. You know, I'll be honest with you, not really. I don't really feel like you can blame Arteta for Partey's crap. I don't really feel like you can blame Arteta for Ramsdale's nonsense. I don't think you can blame Arteta for Ben White yesterday. I don't think you can blame Arteta for Zinchenko's nonsense this season in terms of defending.
No, he's got to take some flack. I'm not with that. He's got to take
no, he does. He does. At
the end of the day, you had a January there to sort shit out. You get me, and bring in the players.
No. But I'm saying
Jorginho in, Partey's not playing well. Put him in it. That's your guy.
Yes,
Saka, he was fucking shit for a lot of the time. Take him off. Put Trossard.
I'm hearing you.
Take some flack.
I'm hearing you, but I'm also saying, when you put a player out on the pitch and they're dropping clangers like that, the next best thing is to try and change it. But you don't expect them to do what they did last season and then to drop the performance that they'll drop. It was so out of the blue. So it's clear. Yeah, it's true. It's hard to say, bro, like. You trust,
especially with Partey and Saka and some of these guys that were like best players in the league in their position and have then gone off the boil.
And this is why, like this again, that's earlier on. When I was chatting to Patrick again, he knows what it is. Like I don't need. You have to agree with him. You have to. You can't, because Arsenal fans are. Bro, again, maybe I shouldn't say it, but they just don't think. They don't think.
Not all, because
not all of them.
Yeah, because like,
of course, I'm not.
Yeah, because even me, I can easily generalize it. But like I've always said, and I got so much respect for Femsy and I never come at Femsy. Of course, when I go at Arsenal fans, I'm going at the collective. But Femsy, for once, has never chatted shit to me when they were top of the league. He was never sending me DMs and underhanded digs and all of this stuff. But there's so many Arsenal fans that were doing all of that, and now they've gone missing. Like I can't find them. King,
but that is part of the
guy. But he used to send me videos at me, do all of this stuff. He used to make videos for me, like, and put them on Twitter. The guy's missing now. I can't.
He used to edit you.
No. Yeah, like, that's it. He used to edit.
The next thing I'm hearing now,
and this and that.
The next thing I'm hearing is, now because we finished second and we can now get 90 points. I'm like, well, hold on. What is it with Arsenal fans here? Where like, it's almost like you have to keep moving the needle. The aim was the league. Anything from that, you have to now be disappointed. You have to be. You can't say, but we can get 90 points. I don't care. Well, I actually don't care. What does that show me? That shows progress, but I'm not bothered.
But like, you can't now anyway. You can't get 90 points now, right?
No. I'm
saying
before
the game. Okay, fair enough.
Before the game, you could have got 90 points if you had won out, and that's my point. Like, I don't understand where, like, when you look at the stats and how Arsenal have actually capitulated, which it's a capitulation. I don't understand where Arsenal fans or anybody.
Do you know what? Yeah, let me come in on this and give you my thoughts around it, because I understand what you're saying to a lot of the extent. But at the same time, look, when I first jumped on this whole situation, bro, Arsenal fans have been chatting shit for loads of years, bro. There's a reason when I do my AFTV interviews, is always up there with the most viewed, bro. Even whether I go every week or I don't go, because I've always said it exactly as it is. When people need criticizing, they get criticized. When people deserve praise, they get praise. And that's just the way I am. I just say it exactly as I see it. There's no beating around the bush. You say it as it is. What Gunali is saying is correct. You get me? We've definitely bottled the league, because being on the league, on top of the league for that long and not winning it is a kick in the dick. You get me? We should be able to see ourselves over the line and try to win that league. But at the same time, having said all of that, I look at it in the perspective of, you could probably go back and listen to my interviews from the very first time at West Brom away when we won 6-0 and everyone was buzzing that we won 6-0. And I said on camera there, I don't know why you're all buzzing. You get me? We just beat West Brom's B team 6-0. We're going to go to Man City and get slapped up 5-0. We went there, we got slapped up 5-0. Yeah. But from that moment there, yeah, when I did my first interview, I've always said it. You get me? I've always wanted to see, within these 19 years, Arsenal challenging for the league. Now, people might not understand it, but I travel a long distance to go and watch my team every single year. You get me? I spend a lot of money on my team. Now, as a football fan, I want to have that belief and hope that next season, we're going to be there and thereabouts. There's a possibility of us winning the league, because there's no given right in this league that you're going to go and win every single year unless you've got the financial power of a Manchester City and you've got a coaching like Pep Guardiola. So with me, how I look at it, yeah, I'm gutted. I'm disappointed. I'm not even so vexed just now, because like Gunali said, for me, West Ham, it was gone from then. And I said it was gone from West Ham. You get me? I didn't have no really hope and belief. I said to Robbie outside the stadium after Southampton, I said to him, look, do you think Man City are going to drop points? Because I don't. And he's saying, you never know what can happen. I'm saying, look, for me, it's done in it. It is what it is. However, being a fan, having that hope and belief, thinking, you know what, if City do drop 2 points, all we got to do is win the rest of our games. We pray to God and hopefully something can happen. Obviously, that's fully done and dusted with. But the one thing I can take from this season, I got to look at certain situations. I think William Saliba getting injured at the time he did was very unfortunate for us, because we had to find a new way of kind of trying to defend that, find a defensive system to cover for that. I think you got to look at it with facts. That is a problem for us. I think Arteta not knowing when to take players off and bench the likes of a Saka and bench the likes of a Partey and bench the likes of a Zinchenko has become a problem for us, which I'm hoping he can learn from next season to fix and correct. Now, if we look at the trajectory of Arsenal Football Club this season, compared to the last 19 years, we're sitting here and we're upset that we've not won the league. You get me? Normally, in them 19 years, we're just about scraping top 4. For the last 6 years, we've not even been in Champions League football. You get me? So as a fan, it's given me belief to think, right, okay, since Arteta's come in, the Cronkies have backed Arteta, regardless of what we say. He's gone out, they've gone out there and they've put the money where the mouth is and they've brought players in that he wants. You get me?
But you see what it is though, Primsy, though, yeah? And this is where I feel like, even for me, I can't really back you the Saliba thing. Because as I said, Saliba, doesn't matter if Saliba was there for Liverpool. The 2-0 up, at the time, can we give context? Liverpool were playing horrible. In that first half, in that first half, we could have been 4 goals up quite easily. Jesus missed a chance. Saka missed a chance. Again, as per. I'm sorry, but we can't do that. West Ham, when you're 2-0
No, we can do that, bro, because I guarantee you for a fact, you could probably pull up bare videos from you when Saliba was firing on all cylinders, and that's how he's had a massive impact on our team.
No, but what
so
I'm saying
you can't say without Saliba in our team, yeah? I'll be honest, bro, I just say it exactly as it is, because there's, like I said, I'm not here for no clicks and likes and none of that.
But what I'm saying
wanting people to hate me, I just say as it is. If you took a Haaland's goals out of Man City, that would have an effect. No, just listen to what I'm saying. If you took a Haaland's goals out of Man City, that'll have an effect on their team. If you took a Harry Kane out of Man City, it'll have an effect on their team.
Because
just
you know
like
why?
William Saliba has an impact in our
It's not.
defense. Of course it is, bro. It's nonsense. All right,
It's not.
Tell me why it's not.
I'll tell you why. Because Man City have players that, firstly, they've got the experience to know that they can shut off a game. You have to understand, as an Arsenal team, you don't have to go gun-ho, go for the second, third. Why did we score? Why did we concede the first goal against West Ham? Wasn't it because Partey tried to flick it over Declan Rice's head? What's that got to do with Saliba? Why did we not score the third goal? Because unfortunately against West Ham, Saka missed the penalty. So it's got nothing to do with Saliba.
I'm not saying that it's all down. I'm saying it has an impact on the way we play and the way we perform. And regardless of what, unless you don't have a footballing brain, bro, I don't understand how you don't see that. And
you know what?
Anybody in here would have Saliba walking there.
Let me jump.
If you want to, let me just come in because look, here's a prime example. Man United over the last couple of weeks, they've not had Varane or Martinez in their team, and they've looked ropey, and the way they've played hasn't been the same as we've seen United play. As soon as Varane comes into that team now, yeah, you see the difference in the performance. So it does help. You just because that players, you want to call this and you're hurt and you're upset. I get it. But having a player that's had so much,
I'll be honest. I think
it's not. It's not a cop out at all because man calls it as it is. But you got to be dumb, bro, if you don't see one of the best players that you've had this season, him being out of the team doesn't impact the team. Of course,
no, he's saying it does impact. But I think let me see if I can translate. I feel like Ian is saying is that it's how Arsenal responded to setbacks like that, to adversity, to the impact of losing a centre back, and their inability to stop that from turning into a complete unravelling, which is symptomatic of a bigger issue, which you're also acknowledging as well. So you both agree. I don't think you're actually disagreeing as much as it seems.
No,
like.
I'm not. What? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Again, I'm saying Saliba wasn't there when we was 2-0 up against Liverpool. He wasn't there when He wasn't there when we was 2-0 up against West Ham. He wasn't there when we were scoring all these goals. So you have
that's my point.
Prem saying that. But Prem saying if he was there, obviously that would have helped. But can I just jump in quickly with something? And I don't want to take us on a mad tangent, but like the way that this league's been staggered this year because of the break we had at Christmas and stuff. One, at some point in the future, it's going to be interesting to look back and really ask whether that helped or hindered Arsenal and being on top for that long. But the way it's happened, it's meant that the Premier League ended up coinciding the end of it with the NBA finals. And just follow me for a second here with where I land you. In the NBA this year, there's a lot of teams and a lot of players that in the regular season were like the top teams, the teams that were the number one seed in the East, the teams that, the players that were like outscoring and outplaying everyone in the regular season. And then it's come to the playoff, and the players and the teams that have been there before, that have got playoff pedigree, that have played under the big lights, that know how to deliver when every single game matters, start to rise to the top, even if they've come in as the 5th, 6th, 7th seed. And I think with the Prem this year, yes, Saliba affected Arsenal. Yes, certain results affected you, throwing away certain leads, whatever. But it does feel like, to a certain extent, Arsenal are just missing that playoff pedigree. They're missing that.
I agree.
That ability to close out games at that point of the season. And that's where I would cut Arsenal some slack and say that that's not necessarily, when people are saying the second most time spent at the top of the league, that was our team. And I think even if that's happened over different Arsenal teams, this current Arsenal team now, it's not because of something that's wrong with Arsenal as a club or the Arsenal mentality. It's that this team are a good young team, but they've just not been there before to have the experience to be able to compete. And City have had to do it. We've seen it with City with Real Madrid last year in the final. We should have never thrown away that game regardless of what happened, but it happened because we've not been there enough. We're not familiar, and Real Madrid they've been there 13 times. So it happens to all of us on the way to becoming familiar and then being able to execute. Go on, my brother. Sorry.
And I think you're spot on, because this is what I was saying to some Arsenal fans as well. Some rival fans say it was inevitable Arsenal were going to drop off. Whether you think that or not is down to the separate fan. I think if you're smart enough, you can't say it's inevitable. But I always said there's a good chance. And us Liverpool fans were the best people to speak to these Arsenal fans, because we've been there with you and only won one out of the 3-4 title races. We've been with you. And what my point always was is, like you said, I just think it's the simple fact Arsenal have not been here for 19 years. And what doesn't help is that their team is young. They were, for me, this run-in was always going to be hard for them. That's what I was saying to certain Arsenal fans when they were gassed, as they should be in January and February, because you can't sit here and say to any fan, don't be happy if you're top of the table in January and February. Every fan would. Every fan on here, if you're top January and February, you'll be happy. However, I don't mean Guna, Lee and Premsy because they're footballing men. They wouldn't just say it's done in February, but there was some Arsenal fans that saying this is our year and whatnot. I think we're guaranteed to win it. And I'm just saying, chill out, because the questions you're answering now, I think I said it on here a month ago, a question asked in December and January is different to one asked in the last 10 Premier League games. The run-in's different. And that's what I was just saying, kind of put a lid on it. Be gassed, it's your team, but you lot ain't been here for a long time. and you're fighting with this City team, and trust me, they pissed me off the last 5 years. I know what I'm up against. And the reason why I was worse for Arsenal, we were doing it against a City team and a genius with Pep that would facilitate with no 9, would play with a false 9. You look at one of, if not the best striker in the world, that Arsenal then need to deal with this. Anything, they're battling with the strongest City.
Yeah, we broke the goal scoring record in this year. Like, you've not lost to just any chumps. You've lost to like one of the highest performing City teams in a dynasty.
This is all amazing. These are all, but again, I'm not talking about Premier League, but I don't like Arsenal fans giving these cop-out excuses. I don't want to talk about Saliba because Saliba is one entity which I don't necessarily disagree with Premier League. But yesterday, we'll talk about. I don't want to hear no nonsense because that was just straight mentality. They should have never lost the game, and you shouldn't lose it 3-0 like that. You can't do that. You can't do that at home. That is straight mentality. The way that we watched that game yesterday, the way they played, it was like a testimonial, and you can't do that. You then go to the fact that, you know, like, as I said, some of the players, and again, it's hard because you don't want to be critical of the players because they've been amazing, but I just feel like if we had won the league, nobody would have been using, this is inexperienced. They wouldn't have done this. So now we have to hold. Listen, there was a couple of weeks ago, there was chat about Saka being world-class, this, that, and the other. There was chat about Ramsdale being goalkeeper of the season. So why is it when they get to a certain level that we can't hold them to that extent, to that level? You have to. So Martinelli scored 15 goals. Jesus came in and walked in and said he wants to be the number 9 for Arsenal, get X amount of goals. So I need to hold him to these standards. And my last point is, you think about all the players at Arsenal, and you're like, all right, you're right. Like, it is to show progression, and next season we hope to see. But what do we see from Arteta? And again, this isn't a pushing of like our players and the manager. It's more about you have to be critical for the top. And I think what we've seen from Arteta when we have Europe and when we have the league, it doesn't look good. It looks spooky. So, in football, you have to take your opportunities. Newcastle have done it this season. Brighton seem to be doing it this season. In truth, we're the only one that ain't doing it. We're the only one that seems to be not taking it.
But do you know what it is, though, Goody?
Go on. Doing it as well.
Say again, brother.
Out of them three,
out
of the three you just mentioned, you are the only ones that did have European football to balance as well.
And it was fighting for the league. You weren't fighting for 6th or 4th. You've been fighting to hold first place and maintain. That's a lot to be running out of front.
They don't have as much of a demanding fan base as you two do. Brighton are happy even finishing in the top 10 if they would take it.
How do you feel about Man leaving early on that point?
Yeah,
is that true that Man were leaving early?
It's not for me.
No, they left at the 80th minute, but it does. To be honest,
not for me.
Why is that a big deal? I don't think it is. Like, ultimately, nobody,
because that wouldn't happen at Anfield.
Nobody can. Forget all that, man. That nobody can talk about.
It's true,
nobody can talk about Arsenal's fan base this season. We have rocked fully with this team all season, and you think about
because you were winning all season. What's happening now?
That's a lie. Because no. Premsy would tell you. Even in games where
I said we were rocking with him when we were top of the league. Obviously,
no, but that's not the point, though. It's been all season.
I disagree.
At the end of the day, you can't just say, we've been with them all season. At the end of the day, the only way that they're going to be able to fix this is by showing you in the future and progressing next season. And what's that going to do to them now, as you say? And the point you made about the young players thing before as well, if they won it at this the ages they're at now, you'd be banging on about this for years. Look, we still bang on about 99 and all that. Won it with kids. 2023, we bang on about it to this day. 24 years it's been. So if you did win it with this group of players, you'd be banging on about this for decades to come. We won it with
just for the other side of it. The other side of that coin.
Okay. About if nobody would be saying anything if we did win it. They would. You'd be banging on about this for time.
I agree.
Just the other side of it. You wouldn't be using it as an excuse. You'd be using it as a badge of honor, kind of.
Yeah. So the coin does flip both sides. Yeah, they can take some criticism, but at the end of the day, for me, at the start of this season, you'd never, ever thought you would be even close to this position.
Doesn't matter.
So, you know what? You know the situation with the fans leaving. Yeah, I actually hear both sides because, in my opinion, maybe fans shouldn't leave because the support translates to the players. They're thinking, they're leaving on us now. But on the flip side, the fans are probably thinking, We've rode out for you all season. I know what you're saying, Bish, as in when it was obviously they were winning, so the fans would be a bit more like vibrant and that. But they're probably looking at it as it's not even that Arsenal have let the title slip. It's the manner in which they've let it slip.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's say Arsenal kept winning games and lost it to City about a point or two, cool. We rode to the end, we're there. But the fact you're losing 3-0 at home off the back of a 2-0 win at St James Park, which to put context in, only Liverpool and Arsenal have even won there this season. To put that stellar performance in, and people wrote off Arsenal before that game, then to lose 3-0 at home to Brighton, not to say Brighton are a bad team, we know they're a good team, but Arsenal have been flawless at home, bar City, I think it's the only loss, and obviously yesterday. But I think it's the manner, and fans have probably just thought, you know what, there's a way of losing it, but you're losing it like this. I'm getting the early train home. That's probably what they're thinking. So I'm
sure it is.
I understand both sides.
But imagine how different the aesthetic is if Arsenal finish 3-0 and at the end of that game, the final whistle goes and they get a standing ovation from a full stadium. I know that's what's living in fantasy land, but that's why I say that I feel like Anfield different, because I'll admit, same thing would happen at the Etihad. Man would be on the bike and on the way home, so I'm not acting like we're any better. But there are certain stadiums, like at Anfield or St James's Park, where I feel like they'd be rocking till the end, just saying, "Fuck it, we was here."
Can I just say though, right?
Go on, bro.
When they turn up, when the players turn up and put in the performance that they've put in, they've shown that they're not bothered. They've shown that they don't care. So
let me give you some pushback on that in a second, though, because I don't think it's not bothered.
Bish, I promise you.
Can I tell you what I think it is with that Brighton game?
No. Players.
Go on.
No. I'm here. I'm hearing. I'm 100% is, and again, it's not argument. I'm telling you, I've watched every single game, Carabao Cup, everything this season. No, sorry, that's the only game I didn't watch because it wasn't on TV. I've watched FA Cup. I've watched every single league game this season. That performance yesterday was what we saw 4 years ago. They're walking around, no effort, no desire, no passion, nothing. So ultimately, the fans, yes, they could stay and support the team, but every fan needs to have something to support. Every fan needs to see something, a little bit of hope, a little bit of something. And when they do what they did for 85 minutes, 86 minutes yesterday, giving the ball away, not doing anything, not fighting, no passion, no desire, the fans have a right to do what they need to do. And they left in the 85th minute. I'm sorry, that's not even that bad. I was at the North London Derby. I saw Tottenham fans leaving at fucking half time.
Yeah. Now, two things. Yeah, one, I feel like there is a situation where them players can be playing like that, not because they don't care or they couldn't be bothered, but because it's exhaustion. And by exhaustion, not necessarily mean like they've had too many games in a week. I mean, there's a mental and physical toll of winning a race for 93% of the season and losing it in the last couple of games. Like the impact of that. But like not just on a we're not motivated level, I just mean on the actual ability to dig into the reserves you need. The physical, psychological impact and toll can just mean that your players are just are kind of like running on low steam. But what I would just say to the other thing where you said the fans are justified.
You see that interview that came up with Ferdinand Evra this morning, that podcast, and he goes, back in the Fergie days, a week before the Anfield game, Man United Anfield game, he would rest the players not because they're tired, to have them mentally prepared to deal with Anfield. So it's not always about physical time. Bro, there's a lot of mental shit involved with football that people don't realize.
Again,
I think
when you look sorry, go on, bro. Sorry, go on.
With their age as well, they're not used to dealing with this pressure from a fan base, from all these fucking like people like us trolling them, opposite.
And the disappointment, bro. Do you know how exhausting disappointment is?
This is
just before you go, this is quick. Do you know what I think also played a part in Arsenal's result as well? Yes, Arsenal were poor and it's not Arsenal standard, but I honestly believe some of your players saw the result 10 minutes before the City game. I thought, you know what?
It's over.
Yeah,
it's over.
Filtered through. I think it actually filtered through. I think it was that kind of the nail. What's the saying? You do. I can't even.
The straw that broke the horse's back, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what?
That doesn't give him that shouldn't give him the reason.
That is no excuse.
There's no excuse.
It's not an excuse. It's just trying to understand.
Yeah. Just to back up my point about how some of these players go. I need everybody to go and listen and watch that interview, or read the interview from Ramsdale. Yes, I think it came out yesterday, and he's talking about, oh, he didn't realize the Premier League, the title would be this difficult, and you know, I want to be known as a winner, but if I'm not known as a winner, I want to be known as a player who's brought back the good times at Arsenal, brother. I'm sorry, I love you, Ramsdale, but you can't come out and say those things. You can't come out.
If the timing's not right, the timing's not right.
Come out and say these things, my guy. And this is what I go back to the mentality thing. This is why I don't want no cop out. I don't want no one saying, minus maybe this Saliba thing. There's no reprieve. Arsenal fans, these players need to hold something, and they need to grow up. Because listen, you can talk about age as much as you want. You can talk about it as much as you want, but first, as I said, you got to take your opportunities. And secondly, this team have done this last season, and now it's coming to another season. And look, they've done fantastically well. And I ain't even trying to shit on them, because as I said, I'm talking about 10 games at the end of the season where it's squeaky bum time and their arses are falling out. But you have to be critical. You can't sit here and say anything other, because these are the same players that got us this position. These are the same players that everybody was lauding on a certain level. So when you get to that level, the expectation of these players rises. You can't say Golden Boy Saka and then, oh, but it's Saka and he's played. That doesn't matter. When you go out on the pitch, you're there. If not, sit on the bench. That is that simple. That is it. If you go to work and I don't perform to a level, I either get sent home or you're expected to do what I need to do, because ultimately you're at work. That's it.
Just before I
bring Patrick in, obviously we'll look at it, because Patrick's not really said much. Sitting there, obviously
he's enjoying it.
Soaking it up. I just want to touch on the fan situation first of all. Yeah, I think Gunnar Lee's got a very good point. The fans have backed Arsenal all the way this season, even when we've been down at games against Villa, Bournemouth, all these types of games. The fans have given their voice, and it's lifted the place, you get me? I think 86, 87 minute, the fans leaving. For me personally, I'm a loyal guy, you get me? So you wouldn't see me doing that, you get me? I support the boys as soon as they're on the pitch, and I'll criticize them once they're off the pitch if I need to, you get me? However, I could probably understand the fan base at the same time getting emotionally exhausted, thinking, what the fuck have we just witnessed and watched? And they're trying to beat the traffic home, you get me? I can understand that as well. So on the fan side of things, I want to say, I think if it weren't for the fans this season, I don't think Arsenal would have even been challenging for this long, because I think we've managed to get these boys over the line in a lot of different games as well, especially even away from home. So the support's been unbelievable. So with the fans, I think we can't just jump on that too much. But I think, like Gunnar Lee is saying, I think we've got to players got to take accountability. Players like Saka, Partey, who are our standout players usually, and they kind of let things slip. Arteta has to take some accountability with not bringing in certain players and not having a plan B of a system. It definitely got to come into play. But at the same time, like I said a little bit earlier on, it's not a cop-out. We bottled it or whatnot. But I didn't expect Arsenal to be here this season, you get me? I understand objectives change as the season goes on. 100% agree with that. Do you know what I mean? But they also change as well when things ain't going well for you. If it could change one way, it could change the other way as well. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I'm actually very proud of the boys this season, because we're back in the Champions League. Is next season for me is where if we don't do what I expect us to do next season, now the pressure's on, that's when I'm going to be fucking losing it. Because don't get me wrong, I'm sitting here, I'm upset that we haven't won the league, and every Arsenal fan should be upset. But like I said, you got to look at the bigger picture of things. We finished 8th twice and we finished 5th. I was probably one of the first Arsenal fans to cry Arteta out. You get me? I was one of the first fans that just put my neck out the line and said it as it is, because I want the best for my football club. And I follow my team all the time. You get me? I've not just been following my team since I've been on AFTV. I've been following my team since Fish. You've known me from young, bro. You know what I mean? So you know what the situation is. So right now, all I know is we have been a very good team this season, where I could take pride in saying I'd rather be challenging for the title than challenging for top 4. You get me? And that's how I see it. But Patrick, quickly to get your thoughts on it before we move on to the City. What's going on? Where do you stand on this whole Arsenal situation, bro? Or do you think we've done well, or do you think we're bottle jobs?
Yeah, I mean, I think both can coexist at the same time. And I think a sensible fan, the thing is, I get the most stick from Arsenal fans. Obviously, like I'm quite well known on social media, all the stuff I do. So there's a lot of Arsenal fans that will come for me in my DMs, sending me nonsense 24/7. And I think what you said, Femzy, is true. You guys can definitely be proud of the season you've had. You've got a fantastic team, some great young talents, a manager who looks to be improving every season. But also at the same time, you should feel disappointment. You should be upset, because the reality is, and you know, the bottled term and phrase, it seems like some Arsenal fans are now trying to water that down. But when it was Tottenham or any other team that bottled it, you were happy to throw it around and band it around. And it's not a nice phrase, it's not a nice term, but it is what it is. And you got to call a spade a spade. And for where you were, I mean, you know, Gary Neville has been quite diplomatic and quite, you know, complimentary of Arsenal recently. But today, obviously, he's come out and stuck the knife in, and he put a table up, he put a stat up, and I was like, wow, that was what the table looked like. And basically, he said, like, you know, 10 games ago, Arsenal were 8 points clear, and they played the same amount of games as City, and it's true. And, you know, Arsenal, of course, they had to go to the Etihad. That was always going to be a tough ask. But it's not those games where you've dropped the ball. It's the games against Liverpool where you're 2-0 up. It's the game against West Ham where you were 2-0 up. It's the game where you were 2-0 down to Southampton, a team that's just been relegated. Those are the moments that you can see now where you kind of threw it away. So I think, you know, just being sensible, you've had a fantastic season. Probably the team that's probably overachieved the most, if that's what you want to call it. Is it overachievement? Is it growth? Is it a bit of both? Probably, yeah. But then also you should be annoyed and frustrated that you didn't see it through, because you had the talent to see it through. You're a good team. You're not there by luck. But just when it mattered, you didn't really, you know. And I agree as well. Like, you should be critical. I get called out for it as well, being critical of my own players. You're a bit toxic. No, you got to be critical and be able to analyze players' good performances and bad performances. And let's be real, where's Saka been at the last 6 or 7 games? He's not really been that guy that we've seen and we know. Odegaard has come through in clutch moments recently, but he's not been the same guy. Partey has fallen off a cliff. You know, Martinelli hasn't done much. And when you get a lot of players dropping clangers at the same time, this is what happens. You know, Ramsdale was at fault for 2 of the goals yesterday. Great keeper. He's won Save of the Month for the last 2 months. Been one of the best keepers in the league this season. But yesterday, fuck me, what was he doing? And just all of these things coming together at the same time, it's kind of where you are. So, you know, in a nutshell, fantastic season for Arsenal. You're back in the promised land in terms of Champions League football. You've had a great season, but any honest Arsenal fan will be annoyed and aggrieved that you didn't see it through. And I know there's people like Babs spinning positivity left, right, and centre, a gal as well. But I know deep down they're annoyed and as frustrated as any honest Arsenal fan. And I like the honesty from Guna Lee, and I like the honesty from friends, because they call it how they see it. They're not you know, too many Arsenal fans I know are just out here just spinning lies. And I'm like, do you actually believe this? Do you know what I mean? You
it's crazy, bro. It's absolutely crazy, bro.
And it's not helpful.
Yo, you don't want to see Gouda. You're gonna get put in a headlock, fam. I'm telling you,
bro. Listen, bro. I'm telling you, like, bro. I'm literally, you know why it's infuriating, because I feel like Arsenal fans, Arsenal fans will get so much more respect if you just come out and say what it is instead of trying to do this, bro. They're spinning webs, and it's almost like they spin so many webs that they forget the shit that they said last week, bro. Like, I'm like, hold on a second, you've literally just said this last time. We're winning the league, we're winning the league, and then hold on a second, oh, because we're not winning the league now, it's we can get 90 points. Oh no, we can get 98 points. I mean, it's 87 points, and then us, we're the second best team in the country. Like, which one is it? Stick with one, and that's it, and ride with that. And that's where when people do mention the whole thing about Saliba, why I kind of push back on that is because, hold on a second, we're meant to be the best team in the league, right? And even yesterday, shout out to Cams and the guys on Stoppage Time TV. Not even like I like to plug other people, but he made a good point. In truth, we're probably the first or second best team in the league. So to lose against anybody else is actually not great. But we've dropped points against Southampton, who, when you look at their last 7 or 8 games, you know, they lose every single game. And what happens to Arsenal? Knock. They come along and hand them points. And in truth, they should have lost the game. What happens to West Ham? They lose all of these games. They get battered by Brentford the other day. Knock. What happens? Arsenal come along. And this is why Arsenal need to hold the slack that we're going to get. And again, I understand. You look at the points, you look at the stats and say Saliba's been so important, but you also have to look at it and say on the other side, on my side of it, we were 2-0 up. You can't like, which one is it? And again, I'm not talking to you, but I'm saying, which one is it? Are we a good team?
Do you know what? I hear you. I just look at it the way as the way I see it, bro. And you got.
But I see the stats. The stats. I agree with you.
The stats, yeah. Even
no, they agree with you.
I'm not even really into the stats. When I watch the football game with my eyes, when Saliba's in our back line, what he allows us to do and the way he allows us to play, having that composure at the back, it speaks volumes. Thomas Partey can venture more forward because he knows that he's got a solid unit behind him who could cover up, track back, and get in the tackle in time. When Rob Holding's there, he can't do that. You get me? He has to sit back, be a bit more cautious, which affects the way that we play. So regardless of what, it does have an impact. But having said that, I think we do need to get away from, everybody comes and gets points at Arsenal. Everyone comes and Arsenal does this, because I don't think that's been the case this season. We can't go and win every single game that we play, you get me? In order to win this Premier League, against this Man City team, you have to be nearly perfect, as Liverpool have shown, you get me? We have not expected Arsenal to be going out and winning every single game this season. If you look at the amount of games we've won, the amount of games we've drew, and the amount of games that we've lost, I think that's a credit to the team as well. I think we've got to take a step back and look, because, bro, last season, the season before, I'm ready to kill the manager, bro. I'm ready to take man's head off. You get me? I don't want to see none of this. But I just see the leaps and bounds and the strides that we've made. And I think next season for me is not always next season we have to do this. I want to see what Liverpool done when they brought in a Van Dijk and they brought in a Alisson, them final touches to add that experience to the squad. See if the manager has learned from his mistakes this season in not benching players like Saka when he's been missing for weeks, not benching Partey early, you get me, not bringing on Kieran Tierney when Zinchenko's making a cock-up job at left-back, you get me? And we have to go out there and bring in a new striker, be ruthless, say to Gabriel Jesus, listen, bro, you're not a number 9, you're going to be put on the wings, you get me? And we're going to have to balance you out with a Saka and Martinelli and a Trossard, and then go out there, be ruthless, Brian Osimhen, somebody like that. You get me? That's what I want to see this season. And I think we built ourselves a platform to do something like that with having that Champions League money now, having that attraction of challenging for the Premier League. So for me, bro, it hurts me more than anything that we haven't won the Premier League. But now I see it as this season can be a stepping stone to for good things to come. But yeah, I agree with Gunnar as well, bro. Like, it is a kick in the dick, innit? Like, we shouldn't be dropping points in these kind of games against Southampton that being relegated. But it is what it is, man. Go on.
This last little bit's more for Gunnar, yeah. But do you know where there is a bit of light at the end of the tunnel? This is your season you've had now is very, very reminiscent of us when we lost the Champions League to Madrid. I know it's a different competition, right? But we had maybe not as young, but we had a youngish team, and a lot of that team was their first Champions League final, their first final in a big major competition. We lost it. You know, you saw what Karius was on, you saw what Bale did to us and whatnot. It hurt them, but you know what they did? They used that to fuel them to go the next season. I know it's a different competition, and then but you know what's also key? Your recruitment, because that summer we then bring in a Fabinho that was brought in the middle of that season, but we brought in 2 key components that we needed: a DM and Alisson in the keeper, and then it also enables us to kick on. So for Arsenal's young team, we all know that, I've said this before, we all know in life you have to fail to win. You can't just win all the time. You have to know what failure feels like to motivate you to go again. What these Arsenal players need to do is use this season to fuel them to go next season. But this is also where it's on not even Arteta in the squad. This is where it's on Kroenke, Vinay, Edu. Your recruitment has to be key, because it can go one way or the other. It could go, you then push again, or you lot could regress. So your summer's very key in the way you recruit.
And I actually think that's a little bit on the fans as well, you know. I know it's going to sound crazy, but it's a tiny bit on the fans and the culture around the club. And it has to be about not losing your heads now. Like, and absolutely, you guys, and it's like what you man have said, you have to remain that balance of, we're disappointed, but understanding that in reality, Arsenal probably were the second best team in England this year, and they came second in the Premier League and got an amazing points tally. And what you have to, and what Liverpool had to do to get a Premier League title for the first time in years, and what City had to do, because we didn't win it at the first time at asking, is you have to be there or thereabouts consistently for 2 or 3, 4 years. So then the next time Arsenal find themselves in this same position where they're 6 point clear with 11 to go, you've got half of your squad that were in this position last time, have tasted it slip away and know what to do differently this time. It just has to be, you guys have just got to make sure next season you're in there or thereabouts, and the season after that you're there or thereabouts, and then you'll get one. But if you do what United did, which is like you come second and then like you get too carried away and then you just have a hard time and you get rid of the manager and throw the baby out of the bathwater, then you'll just be yo-yoing like United done. Do you know what I mean?
Just to kind of, for me, like, I'm only being critical of the last 10 games, the top. I'm talking about the Premier League. The season as a whole, I've literally been happy. I've fallen back in love with this team. I love the manager. I love the squad, everything. I'm talking about winning the league. You have to be critical, and that's just where my difference is. So I think everybody in the panel knows that, you know, you can differentiate between what I'm saying and I'm talking about winning the league. I think that's totally different, and I think that's where I'm just more disappointed, because, as Premsy said earlier on, I know you can't win every game, but it's the way you lost the league. You lost the league in truth to those 3 games where we shouldn't have, because we've backed that. They had nothing to fight for, even though they did, but they didn't have Southampton were going down. So West Ham, we were 2-0 up. So that's just my way of looking at it. But,
I agree, Lee. And I think this is why I think Rom's touched on it as well. It's down to the onus of the owners now making our squad a good squad, because I think we can all sit here and agree we've got a very good first 11 when everyone's fit, but the squad as a whole, the drop off from players that come into that squad in especially key areas, it's just not there. I just want to big up Taron for this super chat as well, and this is what he says here: City can rest KDB, Grealish, and Stones in a must-win away game at Everton this season. The Arsenal team not ready to compete with that. The pressure got to them, 100%. The pressure got to them, and there's a lot of truth in that as well. Regardless of what we say, in them games that we fail to win, and them games that we fail to keep the lead against Liverpool and West Ham, arguably our best centre back this season in Saliba wasn't there, and the drop off from him to Rob Holding is huge. So this is now down to the owners to make sure that we got a full squad that we can go in and rely on having 2 decent teams. But look, before we end up spending the whole hour on Arsenal and the way things have gone, let's touch on Man City. And before we come to you, Bish, I just want to ask Bilal, Man City treble, is it incoming?
I was actually speaking to one of my mates about this the other day, and when you look at it prospectively now, it's very much on in terms of, I think their hardest stepping stone is Wednesday, Real Madrid. And after that, the league's in the bag. I personally think they'll probably learn from their mistakes at Old Trafford, and I actually think they'll brush United aside in the FA Cup final. I'll put my hands up and say that, because I just don't think we're there tactically. Sabitza's gone out today as well. We're riddled with injuries of key players. Tactically, I think, I don't know, mentally as well, I think since the FA Cup, Carabao Cup final, we've just not been there. Been absolutely awful. We've gone back to that United. I'll be honest, we've gone back to that United that I just can't be arsed watching. The football is so boring. The goals have dried up. Rashford's fucking gone off form again. He's not really banging in goals. We've got a fucking horse up front that can't do shit. And if it's not, then it's Martial who hasn't scored. Who scores about 1 goal every 3 months. I could keep going on. Honestly, it's just terrible. As well as we're in the top 4 and we've done the job, but it's so boring to watch. You don't understand. Like the first from the Liverpool game at the start of the season when we won, from then till the Carabao Cup final, I've not enjoyed watching United like that for 6-7 years or more. And honestly, since that final, it's been utter shit. So boring to watch. You don't understand. You're not a United fan. You don't fucking understand how frustrating it is.
So DSG,
having to sit there.
Is it going to happen though? Is it going to happen?
It can very much happen. I literally said this to my mate yesterday. I put it in one of my other group chats. I said, actually look at it. They've got the league in the bag. They'll probably beat United in the FA Cup. The only thing is now they don't fucking fold to Man City, to Real Madrid, and it's done, because the final is going to be easier than the semi-final.
Say no more. Let me get everyone's opinion before we get
Real Madrid. The treble is very much on.
Patrick, are they going to win the treble?
Yes, I said it a long time ago, and I'm going to stick with it. Yeah, they do. They win the treble.
Say no more. Roms, are they winning the treble?
Unfortunately, yeah, they are. They're making history, man. They're winning the treble.
Guna, are they winning the treble?
No, we're winning the league, so
there we go. He's back to life.
Yo, that'd be a mad plot twist, wouldn't it? If Arsenal somehow came back and won the league, everyone would be eating the words.
That's definitely not gonna happen. If that happens, I guarantee you're going to leave a grow hair. It's not happening.
Yeah. Listen, if that happens, brother,
we'll swap hairstyles, fam.
I don't even want to go back to Arsenal, but that's why that Brighton game's disappointing, isn't it? Because if you win that game, you still can have in the back of your mind that little bit of hope of if City drop points. But now it's like City could drop points twice in 3 games.
You know what? We just got to give Brighton some credit because they played us off the park.
They're
a top team. They're a top team.
Top team. Top manager.
I was actually thinking, it made me feel better about our loss because if they beat you 3-0 at home, then a 1-0 away defeat don't feel as bad. You know what I mean?
Nah, they're a top team. Deserve man. He deserves real credit. But look, we've got a few minutes left, Joe. We'll talk a little bit on City and then Pochettino. I want to get your thoughts around Pochettino joining Chelsea, especially Patrick's. But go on, Bish. City, treble, it's on. If you was to do it, that's 3 Premier Leagues on a trot, taking United's, equaling United's treble record. Haaland is being immense this year. Scored nearly 40 goals in the Premier League or something mad like that. Talk to me, man. Are you confident?
I actually think, I was just thinking about it when everyone was answering then, and I actually think it's more likely that we don't win the treble than we do. I think it's about an even chance of each outcome. I think there's about a 30% chance that we win the treble. I think there's about a 30% chance that we win the Prem and one of the other 2, and so like win the Prem and the Champions League and lose to United, or win the Prem and the FA Cup and lose to Real or Inter. And then there's maybe about a 30% chance that we somehow drop the FA Cup and the Champions League. But that's not impossible. If we get knocked out by Real Madrid on Wednesday, I could absolutely see us going to the FA Cup final and getting done with United, because I've seen that happen with us before where we've been on for a quadruple and then it just unravels. Because we're going after that Champions League. And I think if that comes unstuck, then other things can come unstuck. So would I say I'm confident? To be honest with you, obviously I want it to happen. I'm praying this is going to be the year. I've got my FA Cup final tickets locked in. We get past Real Madrid, I'm locking in the Champions League final. So I'm going to make sure I'm there to see each of these moments if it happens. But I still feel like at this point, with the games in front of me, that there's more outcomes in my mind where I see it not happening than where I see it happening. There's a lot. Even everyone talking about beating Real and then you basically won it. Absolutely, I can see a scenario where Dzeko just bloody scores a winner against us in the final and flipping Inter Milan win it, because we lost to Chelsea in the final one year after getting through a harder leg in the semis. So I've seen all of these outcomes happen where you see the fine lines that it takes to win all of these trophies, and all the big games against top teams you have to win. It's a lot that has to go in your favour. Even if you are the best team in Europe,
you're just mad locked in right now. Like I think a lot of your players are just like, you know what? They've been through the madness before of Man City against Chelsea. You've been through this. You've been through the situation of the big games where you've maybe
Real Madrid
through, even against us in the FA Cup when we beat you in the semi-final. And the final, actually. So I think, I think with Man City, I think they now know this is the opportunity to get the Champions League. It really is. You've got Real Madrid and you've got the advantage of playing at home now. So that's one thing in your favor. In the final against them, it's in Istanbul.
Yeah,
I think the players.
Yeah, they might be moving it to Portugal. Hopefully that happens.
Either way, I think what it is.
I thought they were moving it to Wales.
Yeah, they talked about that, or Scotland or some shit.
I think they're saying Portugal, but I think with your players
Portugal,
and your manager,
I don't want you winning in Istanbul.
You've made the mistakes now. You've made the mistakes, and now you can kind of you've got that guy up front. And listen, in the first half against Everton, he had 3 touches. One of them was a goal. That it's mad. So yeah,
that's what I think the difference is this year. But Bish, I've actually got a question for you here. This is more hope because it'll be doing all of us a lot of favour. If City do win the treble, do you think Pep might just go out on that? Like, look, I've delivered the treble. can I probably leave? Because I'll be begging for. I think we all like. He just needs to cut now.
I think if he wins the treble, I think he has one more season. Because I think the thing that I think with Pep owners, this is just me. I don't know any inside talk, but I get the feeling that nothing will be reactionary. Like, I think Pep, as well as the owners, is interested in this being a legacy project where even once he's gone, they continue to win trophies. I think that they are probably earmarking Vincent Kompany, even if they've got their eyes on other people as potential new people to come in. And I think if City win the Champions League this year, unless it's already locked in and planned, where it's like, if we win it, I'm going, this person's coming in, which I don't think it would be. I think he would do another season, even if it was just to set his situation up to pass it on to the next person. I just think that that's how he's, and the owners are going to be set up in this situation. I think he's got too much stock in the club and too much stock in wanting to see his model continue to succeed, that I don't think he would just leave like, yo, I've done it. I've got the trophies now. I'm going and riding off into the sunset. But absolutely, I think that if he wins it this year, I would imagine that would be his last season next year. I think if he doesn't win it, maybe it'll still be his last season, but maybe he will just continue to hunt and continue to find reasons to want to stay.
You never know. He might leave, go to Tottenham, win a Carabao Cup, and then he's definitely cemented his greatness to have a Premier League manager.
Where does he go from here? If he wins it, where does he go from here?
I think he takes a bit of time off. Not PSG. I think he takes some. I don't think so. I think he takes some time, and he's like semi-involved in City, but semi-having time off in some transition period, and then I think he goes to Spain for the next Euros or the next World Cup.
You know what is as well, Bishi? I was reading something today, and not even Fergie's teams did the Premier League 4 years in a row. I think I think you're actually spot on. He doesn't really want to be reactionary. With me, it was just maybe it might be his thought process. If he wins the treble, he might say, "Let me really take the piss," because we know he's a winner.
Back-to-back treble.
Yeah, let me. Even that, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking 4 leagues in a row. Fergie's teams didn't even do.
These City fans have come a long way, man. I remember, man used to be walking on Main Road and that hunt up and that. You get me? Not giving eye contact.
But you know what?
Now,
that brings
talking about back-to-back trebles and that.
You know what? That brings the conversation full circle to something Lee was saying before about the fans having justification to leave if they've seen you playing at a certain level and you drop down. And that is one of the weird things about just being a fan and your team having success, is that one of the famous songs that City fans used to sing when we were still shit was, "We'll never win at home, man, we never win away. We lost last week." Like, we used to revel in just being shit, but we're still here. Like, we don't give a fuck because we're all pissed off. Like, they still sing it now in jest, but the reality is today, you've become so accustomed to winning that just being there to support your team is not enough anymore. And we forget in this small circle, and for most of you, man, you've probably never really experienced like your team being shit, like not being in the Premier League or whatever. And I don't mean that to say like you don't know, but there are a lot of teams that had never even dreamed of winning the Premier League, and they just turn up to just each game to just support. And if it's trying to stay in the league, if it's trying to get promoted from League One, and that's one of the curses of being a successful club. That's one of the curses for Arsenal of being so close to the sun this year, is it burns your wings and it hurts. You Arsenal fans are going to be more gutted at the end of this season than Brentford fans, because Brentford fans are just glad to have won games and saw goals and that, whereas Arsenal, you was close. You know what I mean? Probably only Tottenham, who, bro, just to throw a bit of smoke your way, I didn't realize until today when I was looking at the list, like, your thing is bad, innit, in terms of league titles. Like, I think you've won as many as I think they've won as many as Preston. I think Tottenham have won the same amount of English titles as Preston. And less than like Sheffield Wednesday. Like, your thing's peak. I didn't even realize. Like,
we used to be a cup team. That's where we've been.
Right, cups,
trophies.
Okay,
we won 2 European trophies.
Because I was wondering, like, that had won 2. Like, Swindon and that had won more. I was like, something's wrong here.
Crazy.
They said, "Oh, right, cups."
Trophies, isn't it? The same thing everyone goes on.
Yeah, because I needed one something. It couldn't have been 2 league titles in 120 years or something.
Yo, man said, "Yeah, right, cups."
Guy put the accent on as well. But yeah, man. I mean, I hope for the best, but I don't think we will get the treble. To be honest with you, I think there's more scenarios where we don't. But if we get the Champions League, I don't care, bro. I don't care. That's the last thing. I don't care about the treble, bro. You can even take the league if you want, bro. come back and take the league. If I get the champs locked in, take the league and the cup, and I'll just take the Champions League and go home happy.
That's all gas talk now. You know the league's in the bag, innit? Don't you try to offer us some sympathy now, fam. I'm telling you now.
If I can trade it, if someone told me now you can only have one of the three, I would take Champions League and I'd give up the other two.
If I was a City fan, I would do the same as well. I'm not gonna lie, because sometimes it's
it makes sense from your point of view and your perspective. It makes a lot of sense.
Is everyone rooting for City to do it?
No, you know what? I hate United so much.
No way.
I hate United so much, that I just don't. I want City to do it.
Yes.
So United haven't got.
Thank you, Prem.
You know, I'm rooting to you to do the domestic double, league and FA Cup, calm. But the only thing we have on you is Manchester Champions League. I can't chat to you. You know
no.
So
I am.
What about you, Pat?
I have no issue with Man City.
Yeah, Patrick.
I know, and I was, and that's why I felt bad to even say anything to Pat, because I fuck with Tottenham as well. Like,
the
second
like
fiddle to.
Yeah, 1 minute, Fish. You used to fuck with Arsenal. You get me now? What's going on here?
I fuck with anyone that's second fiddle to the big. So I fucked with Arsenal because you was fighting against United, but I fuck with Tottenham same way I fuck with Everton, because you have experience of being the little club in a local town.
You've been challenging for the tie. You're thinking, fuck these, man. Now,
fuck these, man.
Too much. Big up.
Well, Poch is going to bring them back into the title race anyway.
Big up Monts in the cut. Go and subscribe to his channel, people.
Yes.
Big 6 months and that. We're gonna chat tomorrow. Look, listen. We're an hour in. We need to wrap it up soon.
Poch.
I need to get the thoughts of for everyone on Pochettino. First of all, Patrick, man, your guy, the guy who created some kind of good times at Tottenham. You get me? How you feeling, man? Because for me, that's a bit of a kick in the dick move.
Yeah, I'm disgusted, and a lot of Tottenham fans are trying to like paint a picture where it's okay because we didn't approach him and Poch is out of a job and he needs to do something. I get all of that, but I'm just going to keep it 100 and keep it real and talk as a fan and talk my honest feelings, because I don't like where people keep spinning things to try and be positive or be nice all the time. Fuck Pochettino. Once he goes to Chelsea,
that's it, Patrick.
The book's getting thrown in the bin.
So Patrick, the nights now in Amsterdam and that all goes out the window.
He can say that.
They sacked him. They sacked him at the end of the day. So
look, listen, I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, he's a guy who's always spoke about integrity. He would never, go to Arsenal because of this and that. He would never go to Chelsea because of that. When he managed Espanyol, he would never take the job at Barcelona because of his ties with Espanyol. He always spoke about integrity, culture, all of these things. He's not a manager he spoke these things. He said it himself. He said that Tottenham's biggest enemies and rivals were Arsenal and Chelsea and all of this. And then he goes and he's been having secret talks to Chelsea last summer and the time before that and this and that. So, man, he can do one. Like, honestly.
I disagree, bro. I normally agree with you.
Well, that's fine. And you as a Man United fan, that's cool, isn't it? But from a Tottenham fan's perspective and everything we've been through with him and all the stuff he said.
He needs stoning. He needs stoning.
He got fucked over by Spurs at the end of the day when they fired him. And clearly firing him.
Listen, DSG, let me just put some context in it. Poch has been laying lots of clues and twerks and laying foundations to come back to Tottenham. Pochettino would have came back to Tottenham. So you can't say, he's been sacked. He would have come back. Yeah, no, we didn't approach him. But my point is, if he hated us that much...
Business is business, isn't it?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is you don't do all of that and then go to Chelsea. So, yeah, for me, it means you've got no integrity and you're a fucking snake. Now, who drops? So it's as simple as that.
And I just asked those Patrick,
if he had both options on the table, they're pretty much the same offer. And he said, fuck Spurs, I'm going Chelsea. Then I agree.
No.
Then I don't agree.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, like the fact that you got to think though, like this is the same.
He's throwing out hints.
This is the same thing that we had with Cesc Fabregas. He left Barcelona, and we had first refusal. We should have, Arsene Wenger could have put a bid in for him, and he would have come. He wanted to come, but he felt shunned that Arsenal didn't want it because we had Cazorla, we had Coquelin, we had someone else, Ramsey as well. So he's basically said he didn't have space for him. Your owner is basically doing to Poch what basically like treating him like a side chick, and a sideman's basically trying to say, well, I don't want to prove that you were right by me getting rid of you, so I'm going to purposely go for someone else. Where the guy he's basically begging, I want to come back to Spurs.
Yeah,
so you got to think from his point of view, and I'm not disagreeing with you, and you're a Spurs fan, so you're with every right to feel how you do. But I just think you have to be a little bit more easy with him, because your owner is the one that's pushing him to Spurs, to Chelsea. Your owner is the one that's saying, do you know what? I want you, but I ain't going to give you the satisfaction. So now Poch is looking at it and saying, do you know what? F you. It's nothing to do with the club. I think it's a real personal thing against Levy and against what's his name, Joe, whatever his name is. Joe Lewis. So I think, listen, again, I can't tell you how to feel and think, because this is your guy. This is the guy that's brought you your best and your happiest memories probably as a Spurs fan. But I agree with DSG. I think you have to look at it a little bit. I'm not going to say you say fuck, don't say fuck Poch in that, but I think you have to be a bit easier on the guy, because I felt the same way when Cesc Fabregas went for Chelsea. But bro, listen, I don't have no resent, bro. He's my favorite player for Arsenal.
Can I just add on to that?
1 minute, can I just quickly say before you do, Goonally, you know what? You swayed my mind. I swear, the way you've just broke that down, I hear that. I hear that. I'm not gonna lie, but if I was Patrick, I'd still be.
But no, and at the time, I hated Fabregas. But you will kind of later on, you will kind of change your mind a bit, because I think right now it's sore. It's real sore for you, because the guy that's your guy, bro. Like that's your guy. You ride for that guy, and he's now going to the,
and he's the manager. Like, think of like my age and me watching Tottenham. He's the guy that I actually had an affection for as a manager. He's the guy who, when he came in, we was a club that was literally in disarray and freefall, and he brought the good times back. And I know people were banter, he didn't win a trophy, but to take us where he did from what we were, he got rid of people like Adebayor, Ben Taleb, Lewis Holtby, Cheriches, people that weren't performing. And then he obviously trusted in Kane, trusted in Dele Alli, bought through Ericsson, Carl Walker, who was literally no one really rated at the time, Danny Rose. He's done all of these things, and then for him to get us so close, he didn't. And I understand the stadium.
I hear all that. And this is what you have to understand, Pat. Though he didn't leave. My man fired him, thinking he was the problem. And you know how we're 3-4 years down the line, only to see that actually he wasn't the problem. You're well worse position now than you were when you had him at the end of his tenure.
You know.
So for him, it's like, you know, you've put it in his shoes. Yeah, he's like, right. I gave my all. Like you've just said, I gave my all. I brought these through these, man. We got to Champions League final. We got regular top 4. I've put you on that pedestal, put that standard back in the name of Spurs, yeah. And you fucked me off. I've not left. You fired me, yeah. I've moved on, gone to a different country. It's not worked out, whatever. At the end of the day, now it's a balance between his heart and it's business, bro. At the end of the day, he's just like anyone else. This is work for him. Now he's put his cards on the table and said, pretty much outright there, ideally, even though you've already sacked me in the past, I would love to come back to Tottenham. Yeah, we can all agree on that. Now, who just said it before that? Levy don't want to put his hand in his ass and say, yeah, do you know what? I was fucking wrong. I'm going to bring you back after firing you. He look like a dick if he does that. So he's not put the offer out on the table. So at the end of the day, then Poch's got to look at it like, I need to think about me. And everyone does that.
I agree, but there will be other jobs. He's a top manager. There will be other jobs for him.
If that's the project,
for me, you could have waited and seen something else.
He could go to Liverpool after Klopp gets sacked next season.
Liverpool, Man United.
I was going to say,
where right now he's not. Liverpool don't need a manager right now. Man United don't need a manager right now.
Yeah, but things change.
Depends who you ask.
At this current moment, he's not been in a job. He's not been in a job for a minute, and right now there's no one suited to him that needs a manager.
Except go on,
quickly, on Goonali's point. This is about on Lloyd. It's different, but it's very similar. It's like me with like Liverpool fans with Mark Owen. Yeah, he's the reason I support Liverpool, by the way. But the minute he fucked up in his first year in Real Madrid, you don't say no to Madrid. But he wanted to come back in 05. Once he saw us win the Champions League, he's probably seen us glitz and glam there now. Let me come back. And we had first refusal. Benitez said no. So the fact he went to United is the scum. You don't do that. But this is why I don't have as much resentment as other fans. Because similar to Fabregas, if your club gets first refusal and you're saying no, you can't really turn the other cheek of what they do with the rest of their career. You had an option to bring them back. But like Gunnar was saying to Patrick, I completely get as a Spurs fan that bought you your best time. You had an affection to that guy. But back on the whole, him going Chelsea as well, the reason I'm not too surprised is, let's be honest, you lot, there's no real loyalty in football anyway in these days, full stop. Players, managers, there's only a small pool of managers that are maybe loyal. But you saw Mourinho jump ship from United, Chelsea to Spurs. Anyway, a lot of managers just do it. End of the day, they're going to go where the dough's at. So I'm not too surprised Poch going to Chelsea. The minute the link was made, I knew if Spurs don't come back in for him, he will go Chelsea. He'll go where the money's at. Managers want a payday and they want trophies on their CVs at the end of the day.
Listen, I totally agree. Sometimes you got to think, listen, I wasn't holding out. I wanted holding out yesterday. I wanted him out 2 years ago. I wanted him out the day he was born. That's how crap he is. But I also now look at it and say, look, well, if there was if he was an agent in 10 years' time and he had the next best thing, the loyalty might not be there because he knows that everybody wants him out. Well, I do anyway. So I think sometimes you got to look at it on both sides and say, look, Poch, he wanted to come back, but you lot kind of, some of you pushed him out the door as well. So yeah, man, I think sometimes you got to kind of be a little bit fairer.
He didn't leave on his own accord back in the day. He was fired and he was pushed out by a lot of fans.
And he didn't even get to say bye. Man had to leave us a notice on the whiteboard.
This revisionism is quite interesting because obviously being a Spurs fan, I saw it week in and week out. Before the Champions League final, he had already started to lay markers that if we win it, he'd like to bow out. He was twerking for the Real Madrid job at the time. Even Man United, he had a discussion with Alex Ferguson when he was still in charge at Tottenham. So the guy was always trying to obviously line up what he was doing next. So he wasn't as loyal as some of you guys are saying. Obviously, you look at that, you kind of brush it aside or under the carpet at the time. And then you're seeing all of this. The guy's a snake. Fuck him. I'm tired of you lot trying to convince me that it's not okay.
You know what, Patty? You know what?
What kills me is the way you just said it.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I think everyone's got good, valid points. You get me around the situation, but I'm a very petty guy. You get me like Patrick. You get me like Aubameyang on Chelsea. Fuck you. That's Fabregas.
Yeah.
Even though I loved him, the players that I love, like Van Persie, Cesc Fabregas, Aubameyang, fuck all of you. You get me? The moment you, man, leave my club and decide to play for a rival, I'm not with that.
100.
I'm from a very different lifestyle to what a lot of you, man, are like. You get me? So you probably won't understand where my mindset.
Fremzy and I are quite similar in a lot of ways.
You can't be fucking with no rival. But a quick one before we wrap it up. A quick one, just a yes or no answer. Because obviously we're an hour and 10 minutes in. It's been very enjoyable as well. So big up the panel. Make sure you go into the description and subscribing to all the Mandem's channel as well. Instagrams, Twitters, fucking TikToks, all of that. Make sure you go and subscribe and check it out. But look, Pochettino, is he going to be a success at Chelsea? Yes or no? I'm going to go with you first, Patty.
No. It's too big of a job, and I think that the fans will turn on him if things don't go his way within the first couple of months. So that's me thinking with my heart. So and I'm gonna go with it.
He's praying for his downfall. Gina, what are you telling me? Success at Chelsea? Or not?
I think that he might actually do some good stuff there. It's the history of Tottenham, man. It's the history of Tottenham, man. Listen, to be fair, it's the history of Arsenal. So let me not actually kind of be too shameless.
No. It's the history. Don't talk about our club, bro. We got 13 titles, man. 14 FA Cups. We're up there. We're the third most successful team inside of England, mate. So it's not the history of our club, bro. You love it. I know you're hurt, Guna. Don't when I see you, I'm gonna give you a big hug, fam. Don't you worry about that.
Yo.
DSG, talk to me. Is he gonna be successful?
Only if he has control, unlike Potter. If he has control of the transfers and all that shit, then he can do something. If he doesn't, then he's just another Potter.
He's just another Potter. Say no more. Roms.
No, I think Chelsea fans don't know what they want. I think no. The minute it starts to go bad for them, they're going to switch on him. It's going to filter through to the squad. He has to get a lot of players off the books. He's going to need to spend another 300 mil. I think it's going to be good at first, but he's not going to last for me longer than 7-8 months. What do you call it? What do you call them? Post-Roman bums. That's what they are.
Post-Roman bums. You get me? This is it. You know what? Having said that, I think he's a good appointment for Chelsea. I think they just got to give him time. If they give him time, like you said, Roms, he could clear out whoever he wants. He can bring in whoever he wants. I wouldn't say that they're going to be the best team since sliced bread, but I think he'll bring some good days back to them. He's a good manager in my opinion.
Prems, that club don't know what time means, bro. The fans, the board, that club just don't know what time means, bro.
But if they don't now, it's just gonna be the same situation
Same
for
stuff,
years and
yeah.
years and years to come. So they gotta have a little bit of patience somewhere along the line. But look, people, we've come to the end of the stream. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's locked in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Mandem, and most important of all, smash a like on the video as well. If you're either watching live now or later on, make sure you smash a like on the video, people. But peace and love, and we'll see you next week.